Year 2 is entitled RG3, Revealing God's Greatest Glory. Year 2 begins to ask the question, if life is all about glorifying God, how much glory do we want to bring to God? Do we want to bring Him some glory, a lot of glory, tremendous glory, or maximum glory? We assume, coming off of Year 1's material, that they are wanting to glorify God. So we show them how we reveal God's maximum glory. We do this by helping them see their Bibles not as 66 independent books, but as one book. And just as every one book has an introduction, a story, and a conclusion, so our Bible has an introduction, so our Bible has a story, and so our Bible has a conclusion. The introduction starts in Genesis chapter 12. Here, God makes a promise, a two-part promise to Abraham. In this promise, He tells them that, number one, He will bless them. And number two, that He will be a blessing to all the peoples on the face of the earth. We then help them see that in Revelation chapter 5, God fulfills that promise. There are people from every tongue, every tribe, and every nation worshiping the Lord. So, here in Genesis 12 is the promise. God's first promise to Abraham, I'll bless you to be a blessing to all nations. Here in Revelation 5 is the fulfillment. There are people from every tongue, every tribe, and every nation worshiping God. Here's the promise. Here's the fulfillment. Promise, fulfillment, promise, fulfillment. Everything in between is one story. The story of His glory. And if we were to take this story out of the Bible, you'd have very little left to study. It's just 11 chapters. You can now read through the Bible in a year. One chapter a month, 11 months, you get December off. You can't take the story of His glory out of the Bible. It's one book, one story, one theme. But even beyond this, we help them see that with this two-part story, it's a lot easier to focus in on God's desire to bless us, we call that the top line of the covenant, than it is to be a blessing to others, what we call the bottom line of the covenant. As a result, most Christians are reading their Bibles like a yearbook. When I got my yearbook in high school, first thing I did was I looked for my picture. When I got my Bible in my freshman year of college, that's the same thing I did. I opened up my Bible and I asked one simple question. Where am I in this? What's God got in this for me? For God so loved Bob Shogan that He gave His only begotten Son, that if I should believe in Him, I should not perish but have everlasting life. His yoke is easy, His burden is light. I like this Christianity. And without realizing it, I should have paid half price for my Bible. Why? I was only focused on the top line of the covenant. And I passed over the bottom line time and time again. Top line, bottom line. It's a lot easier to focus on the top line of the covenant. Now, here's the key. If they don't know the story of the Bible, and they only know top line lessons, odds are, oh, please hear this, odds are, they are not going to know God's will for their lives. You don't want that. At best, it'll be incomplete. At worst, they will totally miss it. This is not something you want for your students. Please, please get them to go through our second year's curriculum. It is changing lives significantly. With our second year core workbook, they'll also be reading through the books God's Bottom Line and A Cat and Dog Look at the Cross. In our Bible study section, they'll be going through Palogi lessons. Palogi, P-A-L-O-G-I, stands for Planning a Life of Global Impact. In these lessons, we get them to map out the next 5 to 10 years of their lives, and they write down their own personal vision statement. They'll also pick right back up with the Chris and Sarah stories. You do not want your students to miss this second year's material. Please, please go through year 2.